You know that one person who shows up when disaster strikes. Leaking pipe, dead car battery, corrupted file, complete emotional meltdown, and they just go quiet for a second. They don't panic or frantically search for answers with trembling hands. They just pause, think, and then calmly start fixing it. Meanwhile, you're standing there wondering why your first instinct was to burst into tears or completely freeze. So what actually separates these people from the rest of us? Here's the surprising part. It's not intelligence. It's not even experience. And once you understand what it really is, you'll start seeing it everywhere. And more importantly, you'll realize you can develop it too. Let's talk about something psychologist Albert Bandura discovered in the late 1970s, a concept called self-efficacy. Strip away all the academic jargon and it's simply this: your belief that you are capable of handling what's in front of you. This isn't vague optimism or positive thinking. It's very specific. It's the quiet internal voice that says, I've handled difficult things before. This thing in front of me, it's handleable. Bandura's research revealed something profound. This belief alone dramatically changes how long someone persists at a problem before giving up, and how much effort they invest when things get hard. Two people with identical skills can face the same challenge, but the one with higher self-efficacy will keep going while the other gives up. The question is, what creates people like this in the first place? Think about what happens the very first time a child tries to fix something. Actually tries, and it works. Even something tiny. They wiggled the wire and the lamp turned on. They rebooted the router and the internet came back. They applied pressure to a cut and the bleeding stopped. That moment does something to them that has nothing to do with the lamp or the cut. It fundamentally rewires how they see themselves in relation to problems. Suddenly, the world isn't something that just happens to them. It's something they can reach into and influence, something they have power over. And every time after that, when something breaks, their nervous system doesn't go into shutdown mode. Instead, it shifts into almost a state of mild curiosity. Oh, this is a puzzle. I've solved puzzles before. Bandura called these mastery experiences, and decades of research consistently rank them as the single most powerful source of self-efficacy. Not being told you're capable, not watching someone else do it, actually doing it yourself and seeing the result. That's what creates unshakable confidence. Psychologist Julian spent years studying what he called locus of control, the degree to which a person believes their own actions determine outcomes rather than luck, fate, or other people. People who sit firmly on the internal end of that scale don't just do better at fixing things. The research shows they're less likely to develop depression, better at coping with stress in healthy ways, more persistent when facing obstacles, more resilient across different life challenges. This pattern has been recognized across different cultures, age groups, and socioeconomic backgrounds. The sense that your effort actually matters is apparently one of the most protective psychological traits a person can develop. But here's what's crucial to understand. Most of these people were not born this way. It started from very specific moments, usually in childhood, where someone either handed them agency or left them no choice but to find it themselves. Sometimes it was a parent who said, I'm not going to give you the answer. I'm going to help you figure it out. Sometimes it was a parent who wasn't there to help at all, so the child learned to help themselves. Two very different pathways, both leading to the same place, a person who believes they can solve problems. Now here's the part that surprises most people, because it looks like confidence from the outside, but it's actually something quite different. When a natural problem solver walks into a broken situation, they are not certain it will work out. They're not carrying some magical guarantee in their back pocket. They feel the same uncertainty you feel. What's different is that the uncertainty doesn't feel like a verdict to them. It feels more like a starting point. There's a psychological construct for this: tolerance of ambiguity. The ability to sit inside a situation where you don't yet know the answer and not completely fall apart while you figure it out. People who struggle with ambiguity need resolution fast. They need to know it's going to be okay right now. And when they can't get that reassurance immediately, anxiety floods in. They freeze, or they hand the problem to whoever seems calm and slowly back away. The problem solver in your life? Somewhere along the way, they learn to be okay in that uncomfortable in-between space. They learned that not knowing yet doesn't mean failure. It just means still working on it. I want to pause here and be completely honest about something, because this wouldn't be a complete picture without addressing it. Some people who know how to fix everything, emotionally, practically, logistically, for everyone around them, aren't actually doing it from a place of strength. Some of them learned to fix things because it was how they earned their place. The approval was in the solution. Being helpless was, at some point in their lives, genuinely dangerous. So their nervous system made a decision: I will never be helpless again. That's a coping mechanism wearing a superhero costume. The tell is simple. Ask them to let someone else handle something. They physically cannot relax. They hover. They offer unsolicited suggestions. They interrupt. They need the thing to be fixed. Not just for your sake, but because an unfixed thing somewhere in their environment feels like an unfixed thing inside themselves. That's not self-efficacy, that's trauma dressed up as competence. But then there's the other kind, and this is the one genuinely worth understanding. The person who fixes things out of genuine curiosity, because broken things genuinely fascinate them. To them, the gap between not working and working is one of the most interesting spaces in the world. These are the people who will take apart something they already fixed just to understand it better, who ask questions that have no practical use, who explain what went wrong with a level of detail nobody asked for. Absolutely delighted, like they just discovered something beautiful. These are the people who fell in love with competence itself. Not the outcome, not the praise, the process, the figuring out. Spending time around people like this is one of the most recalibrating things you can do for yourself. Because what they model, without even trying to, is this: not knowing how to do something is just a temporary state. Broken is not a permanent condition. You can put your hands on a problem and actually move it. You might be sitting here realizing you're one of these natural problem solvers and you've never really thought about why. Or you might be realizing you're not, and the idea of being this way feels genuinely foreign to you, maybe even impossible. If it's the second one, I want to say something directly to you. The reason you outsource your problems isn't a character flaw. It's a history, a set of experiences that taught you that problems are things that happen to you rather than things you act on, that you need to wait for someone more capable, that trying and failing is more dangerous than not trying at all. And here's what matters most: that isn't permanent either. The entire foundation of Bandura's work on self-efficacy is that it builds through experience. It's not genetic, it's not predetermined. It develops through small wins, tiny moments of "I tried and it worked," not giant heroic fixes, just you tighten the screw yourself. You made the difficult phone call, you didn't wait for someone to save you just this once. That's where it starts. One small success creates a tiny foothold, then another, and slowly your relationship with uncertainty begins to shift. You start to notice, I handled that. I can probably handle the next thing too. Your nervous system begins to learn a new pattern. Problems aren't threats. They're just situations that need addressing. This is how self-efficacy builds. Not in dramatic transformations, but in accumulated evidence that you are more capable than you believed. But here's where most people get stuck. They understand this intellectually. They see the pattern, they recognize it in themselves, and then nothing changes. Because awareness without action has a way of just becoming more material for your brain to loop over endlessly. Hey, you see it, you name it, you think about it constantly, and still nothing moves. The gap between insight and actual change, that's where most people lose momentum. If you're someone who gets it, but keeps finding yourself in the same patterns, same hesitation, same "I'll start properly next week," same reliance on other people to solve things. You need structure, not more information. You need a system that takes you from understanding to actual capability, step by step. Real change happens when you, 1, Start absurdly small. Don't try to rebuild your entire self-concept overnight. Pick one tiny thing this week that you would normally ask someone else to do. Research it for 10 minutes. Try it. See what happens. 2. Track your mastery experiences. Keep a simple record of small things you figured out. Your brain needs evidence. Give it evidence. 3. Reframe uncertainty as information gathering. When you don't know something, you're not helpless. You're just at the beginning of the learning curve. That's not a deficit. That's a position. 4. Study problem solvers around you. Watch how they think out loud. Notice how they break problems into smaller pieces. Notice how they're okay with trying something that might not work. 5. Deliberately practice tolerating discomfort. Sit with not knowing for 5 minutes before you ask for help. Then 10. Then 30. Build your tolerance gradually. The people who seem naturally capable, they're not special. They just have more accumulated evidence that trying leads to solving. You can build that same evidence. You just have to start collecting it. Here's what nobody tells you. Every person you admire for their capability was once completely incompetent at the thing they're now good at. Every single one. The difference isn't talent. It's not intelligence. It's not even opportunity. It's that somewhere along the way, they learned that temporary incompetence is just the price of future competence. They learned that I don't know how just means I don't know how yet. And that single shift from fixed to developing, from permanent to temporary, changes everything. You are more capable than you think. Not because I'm trying to make you feel better, but because capability isn't something you either have or don't have. It's something you build, one small solved problem at a time. Now the question is, what's the first small thing you're going to fix yourself?